Hello, my name is Chris, and today I am in the mood for celebrating because it has been 3 years since I quit smoking. 1, 2, 3 years. Hands down, no word of a lie, quitting smoking was the best thing that I've ever done in my entire life. 3 years ago, I started on a new journey, a new chapter in my life, and since then, everything keeps getting better and better and better. I am healthier, I am happier, I'm even wealthier than I've ever been before, all as a direct result of quitting smoking and using quitting smoking as the catalyst for making more big, positive changes in my life. Now, that doesn't mean that my life is perfect, far from it. I still face challenges, I still struggle with my mental health from time to time. Outside forces still occur. But the best thing about quitting smoking is it's not about having more money or anything like that. It's about the ability to face challenges head on without a cigarette. The name of our Facebook group is Finding Freedom. And I don't just talk about finding freedom from cigarettes themselves, but finding freedom from that reliance on cigarettes or any addictive substance when we are faced with life's challenges. Today I can go into any stressful situation, any minor annoyance or major tragedy, and no longer even feel, any kind of urge to smoke. It really has been an amazing journey. And I want to celebrate, and I'm going to celebrate big time today. I'm going to celebrate with a big, huge, exciting announcement. At least I think it's exciting. I hope you do. I'm also going to celebrate by responding to some of your questions and comments, both from the YouTube channel and from our Finding Freedom Facebook group. In Finding Freedom, you will find the link down below in the description. It's also at facebook.com/groups/findingfreedom1. You notice how I say groups then? Groups. Anyway, let's get straight on to this big announcement. If you are a subscriber to my YouTube channel, if you have been following along my videos for the past year, you will have heard me mention on more than one occasion that I've been writing a book about quitting smoking. The good news is that the book is done, it is finished, we are just making minor tweaks. I've got a few things left to do, but we have a release date. You will be able to get your hands on a copy of this book that I've been banging on about for the past year on Friday, November the 8th, 2019. At the time that I'm recording this video, that is just 6 weeks away. Oh my goodness, I've got work to do. On Friday the 8th, you will first be able to get a copy, an ebook copy from Amazon, from Google Books, from wherever you normally get your ebooks from. A little time after that, you will be able to get a physical hard copy of the book. I'm very excited and I can't wait for you to read it. However, I don't want to turn this video just into a sales pitch. So if you do want to know more about the book, I'll dive deeper into it at the end of this video. For now, what I thought we would do to celebrate my 3rd anniversary since I quit smoking is to respond to some recent comments and questions that you guys have sent over. So let's get on with that. First question comes from Kim on Finding Freedom. Now, this question wasn't directed at me personally, it was directed at the whole group, but I do feel like it's such an important question to answer. Kim asks, I've been having low moods and feeling depressed since I quit smoking. Is this normal? Does it happen to, has it happened to anybody else? Yes, it is having a low mood or feeling depressed after quitting smoking is fairly common. I won't say it happens to everybody, it certainly doesn't, but it happened to me and it's happened to other people, that after you quit some time passes and you just start to feel really low. Maybe you feel, you have similar symptoms to if you had clinical depression. It can happen for any number of reasons. One explanation is, that when we smoke, we get these constant, quick little dopamine hits every time we pick up a cigarette. So when we stop smoking, we're no longer getting the same amount of dopamine. We're therefore in a lower, depressed state. Another explanation is that our bodies are just so exhausted from cleaning and healing and repairing all the damage that we did to ourselves over the years. Another explanation has to do with something called monoamine oxidase A, which is often called the warrior gene, which devours things like dopamine and serotonin and can lead to us not only feeling depressed but also feeling angry and tense. And the increase in monoamine oxidase A that we get when we quit smoking is often the reason why we feel like lashing out and we feel bad-tempered when we quit smoking. I've made other videos about that if you want to look at them. But just knowing that it's fairly normal and fairly common doesn't exactly make it better, does it? I understand that when you feel like absolute crap, just saying, oh yeah, it's normal, isn't much help at all. The first thing that I want to recommend if you're going through something similar is not to try and fight it or act like it's not happening. Remember, what you resist persists. The longer you go, get through it, it's just going to keep building and building and building. The idea is, as much as you can, as uncomfortable as it is, to accept this, trust that it is part of your healing process and that it will pass and you will get better. Certainly don't smoke to make it go away, because then what's going to happen is you're going to smoke a cigarette and they'll go, oh my God, I smoked, I'm such a terrible person, and you beat yourself up and you add to all those bad feelings that you've already got. Best thing to do is to accept it, to lean into it, and eventually it will pass. And in the meantime, do as much as you can to give your mind, your body and your soul even everything it needs to rest and recuperate and recover from that depressed state. How do you do that? I made a whole video last summer about dealing with depression after quitting smoking. The link is down in the description below. I'll also put it in those little cards that go across the top of the screen or to the right of the screen, or you know where to find those links for now. Sarah asked me if I could talk about when it was that I realized that I no longer thought about smoking. The simple answer for this is that it took me a year to reach that point. A point where I had the same reaction to life as someone who has never smoked cigarettes. Somebody who's never smoked cigarettes doesn't think about them in their day-to-day lives. Somebody who's never smoked cigarettes doesn't go into a stressful or upsetting situation and think and feel tempted to smoke. And it took me about a year to get to that point where I could go into any situation and a cigarette would not even cross my mind, no matter how stressful it was. If you are at the start of your journey, I understand that can sound terrifying. Oh my goodness, Chris is saying that it's going to take me a year of feeling like crap before I start to feel better. No. It's not what I'm saying. It's not going to take you a year of feeling crap before you feel better. The process of going from a smoker to a non-smoker who never even thinks about smoking is a slow, gradual process. It is a slow, gradual shift that is so subtle you may not even realize it is happening. I went from someone who was quitting smoking, who constantly thought about cigarettes because my body was craving them, my mind wanted that familiarity, that routine, to being an ex-smoker where I started thinking about cigarettes less and less and less, but sometimes something would stress me out or upset me and I'd still be triggered, and my default reaction was to at least consider a cigarette, even though I was able to say, okay, smoking is not the answer. I will go into those situations and at least consider it. Then I found that over time, days would pass, weeks would pass. Less and less things triggered me. I could go into more stressful situations, not willingly obviously, but if I found myself in a stressful or upsetting situation, I didn't even consider a cigarette. Cigarettes were the furthest thing from my mind. And there were no bright lights or no, epiphanies, whereas like suddenly I've transformed into a healthy, happy non-smoker. It was a slow, gradual process. A journey that is worth going through. Every day that you stay away from a cigarette, you are getting better and better and better, even when it doesn't feel like it is. Even when it doesn't feel like you are, should I say. Every day you are getting stronger, you are able to face more challenges, you are able to embrace that freedom from your addiction and from that reliance on addictive substances to get through the day-to-day. I've explained that a little bit better and a little bit more detail in a video that I made at the start of the year. I think it was called something like "When Does Not Smoking Become Normal?" Again, the links are in the description. I'll put one in the card, so you can check that out if you want to. What's the next question? Let me check that out right here. Linda says to me, did you notice any changes in your sleeping pattern? I noticed I've been waking up a few hours earlier since I quit smoking, and I wondered if quitting smoking had anything to do with it. Absolutely, I noticed huge changes in my sleeping and in my energy levels in general. In fact, it was one of the first things that I noticed. When we first quit, our sleeping can be all over the place. But because our bodies are no longer going on that insane roller coaster that we put them through when we're quitting smoking, where we get into a low state of feeling, craving, and then we get the high of the dopamine hit, and then the dopamine wears off and the nicotine wears off and we crash low, so we smoke again and we go up high and crash low. Oh my goodness, doing that all day can be absolutely exhausting, so that when we go to bed at night we need loads and loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of sleep. When we quit smoking, our bodies no longer have to go through that process. When our bodies have done with all the healing and the cleaning and repairing, we naturally end up with much more energy, which means we don't need to sleep as long, which means we can get out of bed feeling amazing. So yes, I absolutely notice that I need less sleep now that I've quit smoking. Not just that I need less of it, but that the sleep that I do get is of a much better quality. Oh my goodness, I have never slept so good in all of my life since I quit smoking. And I don't know how much of that is down to the fact that, the last thing I did before I went to bed was to make sure I had a cigarette. So I'm giving myself that little and then crashing low. So I don't know how much of that has to do with it, but I do know that absolutely, I get up earlier now and I sleep better throughout the night. Finally, Jordan asked me if I ever do meditation and if I could talk about that. Absolutely, I can talk about it. In fact, it's one of those topics that is so broad, I feel like I should do a full video about it. For the longest time, I absolutely struggled with meditation. I even did a live chat earlier this year. Somebody asked me about it and I was like, I try it, but I find it so, I just don't feel like I'm doing it in a way that is beneficial to me. And I learned after a while that what I was doing wrong was I was imposing all these rules and restrictions on, like, this is how meditation is, and if you don't do it this way for this length of time, then oh my goodness, you might as well not bother at all. I was convinced that I couldn't get it right. I only started to find meditation helpful in any way when I learned to let go of all of that. Right now, I quite enjoy meditating for short periods of time. I don't even have like, oh, I have to meditate for 10 minutes a day, or I don't have to meditate for half an hour right now in this session. I will just allow myself to just be, and to just be with my breath for as long as feels comfortable and appropriate. Sometimes that's longer than others. I let go of having to meditate in a certain way, or of, oh my goodness, well, I'm thinking thoughts, so I'm clearly not very good at it. And the more I learned to let go, the more I started to get out of this. I'm still learning how to meditate, and I'm still practicing, but at the moment I use meditation as one of those tools that I can pull out of the bag during the course of my day. It is my intention to build it into my routine, but I am patient and kind with myself, and I'm not like, well, I didn't meditate today, so that clearly means that I'm crap and I'm clearly not a very spiritual person and everything's terrible. I'll do it, as and when feels appropriate and right. Sometimes I'm so swept up in my day that I go, do you know what, right now I just need to take a few steps back and to just breathe. Sometimes there's nothing else going on, I'm just learning to be with myself and with my breath, and I naturally feel, I feel like I've just put life on pause for a minute, and now I can tackle the next thing on my list much easier. So it's a growing process for me. It's been one of the last things that I've got to grips with, and I will at some point make a full video about meditation. If I don't, get onto me and kick my bum and remind me. Likewise, if I've ever said to you, oh, I'll make a video on that, and I haven't, get onto me, kick my bum, and make sure I get it done. Finally, I promised you I would talk to you a little bit more about the book that I have written that will be out on Friday, November the 8th, 2019. It is a complete guide to finding freedom from nicotine addiction. Not just finding freedom from nicotine addiction, but finding all the happiness and joy and peace that comes with being a healthy, happy non-smoker, that comes from being free from addictions. There are 31 chapters, so that there's one chapter for every day of the first month of your quit journey, because I know that the first month is often the hardest. And in the book we tackle quitting smoking from all angles. Where I went wrong in all the times that I failed to quit smoking successfully is that I would treat it as purely, well, it's a physical thing, or it's just mental, and if I'm just mentally strong enough, I can get through it. Whereas I found that the way for me to succeed and to stay smoke free for 3 years was to treat it from a physical, a mental, and an emotional standpoint. To dive deep into the root causes of why do I hate myself so much that when I feel bad, I make myself feel worse by choking and poisoning myself. By looking at healing some of that damage that causes me to do that. In the book, I've looked at how to deal with physical cravings and physical withdrawal symptoms, as well as mental and emotional triggers. I've looked at how to deal with anger and lashing out when we are quitting smoking, and as we talked about earlier in the video, about depression. There are chapters on what to do if you're not sleeping too well, on what to do if you're sleeping too much, and there is a whole section dedicated to relapse prevention and recovery. Because although I would love it if nobody ever relapsed on their quit journey, I understand that it does happen. So I've hopefully provided you with some tools, some tips, and some suggestions on how to get back on course. So there's a lot of information in there, a lot of advice, but also a lot of practical things that you can go out and do. I've included worksheets and journal templates and downloads and links to some of the videos that I've done so you can hear me expand on that subject. Again, it will be out on ebook form on November the 8th and in paper, I think paperback, a little bit after that. In the next week or two, I am going to share a pre-order link with you. So if you want to be the first to get a copy of that book, you can do. I will share that link first on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Chris Scoyles. Yes, you guessed it, the link is down in the description below. And over the next couple of weeks, I will share with you more and more information about the book and about how you can get your copy. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all your love, your kind words and your generosity over the last 3 years. I always love it when somebody says that something I have said or a video that I've made has helped them or encouraged them, but I do need you to know that this works both ways. I'm not just saying this to suck up to you to get more likes. I genuinely appreciate all your support, and I would not be in the position that I am in today feeling as good as I do without you. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best on your journey. Please let me know how you're getting on in the comments below. I'll see you next time.